the man of the fields. The coins are strung over the fake straw sockets to give the impression of eyes. They blow around on their strings in the wind. There for the ferryman once the corpse inside the straw shell has served its time as worker and protector of the farmlands and can finally rest. If the coins are lost, it becomes violent and unpredictable. It realizes the unnatural state it's in and wants nothing more than to rest. The man of the fields is rarely a voluntary position. The above is a passage mentioning a tradition for a small town in the southeastern portion of the United States. For security purposes, the town's name won't be named in this report, as the more people who show up, the more victims are available for their practices. Heavily rooted in voodoo and similar occult practices, the man of the field is a particularly harsh punishment that unfortunately cannot be abolished. Somehow it is part of the town's founding charter. Shortly after the Civil War, a government exception was even granted to allow the ritual to continue. For services rendered to the North, the exception said, a presidential order signed by Lincoln himself. All attempts to discover what these services rendered may have been have proven fruitless. If the information still exists, the town residents, many of whom are descendants of the founding members, will not admit to it. With all of that being said, it means that the agency cannot interfere with what goes on in that town. Technically, any attempt to do so would be a federal crime. The only actions we can take are indirect ones, such as removing the town from maps and preventing it from showing up on map and GPS apps. Back to the man of the fields. Every fall, the mayor of the town will visit the local jail. There always just happens to be 1 or 2 people imprisoned there at the time for drunken disorderly conduct or worse. If they have a serious criminal, such as a thief or someone who committed assault, they are the one usually selected to be the man of the field. Unfortunately, locals know to be on their best behaviour, especially during harvest. So it's often some out-of-towner who stumbled in and broke one of the town's many obscure and draconian laws. That person is always taken during the night before the fall solstice. They are drugged and, for the next 24 hours, they are subjected to being repeatedly tarred and rolled in straw until they are fully covered. Drugging the victim is a mercy, as it prevents them from feeling the heat of the tar or the agony of the needle-like straw stabbing into their scalded flesh. Unfortunately, the drug does wear off fairly quickly, leaving them exposed to the pain. Hours of such treatment usually drives the victim mad. Sometimes further doses of the drug are administered, especially if the victim is a member of the town. Once the application of tar and straw is complete, they are mounted on a stake and literally paraded around the town. As the man is displayed around the town, the natives arrive and make their wishes for the next year, almost as if they were children writing a letter to Santa. It is a very festive event, with decorations, games and booths set up. The entire town congregates to celebrate the torture of the victim. Finally, the man is transported to the field, where the current mayor will make a speech. It usually consists of greeting the whole town and then going into why the person was chosen to be the man. The town will usually collectively boo the semi-conscious victim. Finally, the mayor will chant a phrase in an unknown language. To this day, the agency has failed to translate or transcribe it. Following the chant, the mayor places 2 coins over the victim's eyes, often of silver, but sometimes gold if the town is experiencing a rough harvest year. These are affixed by way of a thin rope fashioned from the victim's hair. To complete the ritual, the mayor takes a long stake of petrified ash wood and hammers it through the victim's chest with a mallet. If they haven't died from their treatment thus far, this will finish the job. The ritual complete, the townspeople leave the field and return to their homes, signalling an end to the morbid celebration. Except it isn't the end. The ritual works, and that's the horrible part of it. The day of the fall solstice, the man of the field will animate and pull itself free of the stake. It will then roam all of the farms and fields, warding away crows, insects and scavengers. As it does so, every planted item will display accelerated growth and reach twice their normal size. The fruits and vegetables produced are of superior quality and taste when compared with produce from other farms in the region. It is these superior goods that allows the town to thrive and constantly draw in new visitors, or victims, to live there. At first it was assumed that the person was still alive, even after the stake was driven in. Some miracle that kept them alive despite their horrible injuries. An operation was undertaken to rescue the victim once out of sight of the townspeople, who liked to watch the man work. What we didn't know was that the person was long dead and animated by the dark harvest ritual. When the agents attempted to drag the man away for healing and recovery, they accidentally broke the string that kept the coins in place over the man's eyes. Instantly, the thing went berserk, screaming loudly and attacking every living thing around it. Bullets didn't do anything, and the agents were forced to retreat to escape injury. After that, the man rampaged for the rest of the night, screaming and crying until the mayor and a group of townspeople managed to pin it down and return the coins to their proper place. When the coins were back in place, the man settled down and went back to tending to the fields, as if it wasn't a murderous, zombie-like creature a few seconds ago. The townspeople acted with haste, but not panic, as though they had dealt with this many times before. From what we have observed, this appears to be the case. Luckily, the agents escaped detection and continued spying upon the townspeople's conversations. From this, we were able to discern that the townspeople assumed the coins were knocked free by a wild animal that the man was driving from the field. Observation continued in silence, and what was recorded was that the man would be active all the way through fall, all the while doing the work of 4 farmers without pause or rest. It will finally stop animating on the final evening of fall, just as it turns midnight. As fall turns into winter, the man of the field will hang itself back up on the mount it was originally placed on. It will reattach everything, and finally pull out the stake that animated it in the first place. Then it will go still. The next day, the mayor will show up, accompanied by the same group of people who had restrained the man when it went berserk. They will carefully take down the man, remove the coins from the body, and set up a funeral pyre where they will reverently place the man. The mayor will deliver a short speech giving thanks to the man, and finally the pyre is set alight and the group will watch in silence as the body burns to ashes. Afterwards they will leave, taking the coins with them. Recovering a sample of the ashes was an easy thing for the observing agents. Testing the composition in the lab only revealed that it was burnt human remains, tar, and straw. Nothing unusual, nothing that could explain the event that was witnessed. All the agency can do is take note of the town's ritual, warn away as many people as possible, and make sure the place will never show up on any maps. Isolation is our only option, not without breaking a presidential order.